Strategy Corner, a show intended to equip you with the business principles to help you become the leader your organization requires. Our guests from top business schools, renowned consultancy firms and forward-thinking leaders and executives will provide you with the contemporary business insights and principles to help you successfully navigate the complex world of business. And now, here's your host, Lekometsa Mogesi.
Hello and welcome to Strategy Corner. I'm your host, Lekometsa Mogesi.
In our previous episode, Thabo and Mpumi, the founders of Toys with Roots, shared with us the importance of remaining true to our identity as Africans. In this episode, the duo share with us their product offerings from toys to books and even music.
Dolls, we also have puzzles, just introduce some puppets as well. We're also creating content, so musical content. We're doing a CD called Songs with Lali, so it's going to be nursery rhymes, African nursery rhymes.
Now let's talk about the products that you guys produce. I know we spoke a lot about dolls, but I think you alluded to the fact that there are other stuff that you also produce. Can we talk about those?
Yes, so we've got some dolls, and not all of them are our in-house products, so we sort of curate products from other small entrepreneurs as well, and we bring them into our basket and offer them into the market. So it's sort of a one-stop shop for African toys. So other than dolls, we also have puzzles. We just introduced some puppets as well. We're also creating content, so musical content. We're doing a CD called Songs with Lali, so it's going to be nursery rhymes, African nursery rhymes. On that CD, we've got some books as well, and the books are centered around African children or written in an African language. So we avoid stories that are unfamiliar to African kids. So we won't have anything like snow and Christmas because that's not who we are, you know. And our books also always lean towards an educational aspect as well. But they're fun, entertaining, and enjoyable books as well. So we encourage parents to get those as well, you know, to read to their children, also especially in the indigenous languages. We also have an app actually called Fun with Lali, only available on Android.
Right.
And on that app, you can learn animals, family members, and body parts either in Sizulu or Sesotho. You know, so amehlo, ikhala, you know, nkomlo, and it will ask you, you know, nkoki ikai. It will show you, and you can choose. So also trying to help assist parents as well in terms of teaching our children African languages, because I mean, when you live especially in urban areas now, you find that our children go to Model C schools, so a lot of the conversations happen in English. So we said, let's create a tool that will also assist parents and help children as well learn our indigenous languages.
Now, I went through your product catalog and I realized that most of these dolls have names. Do the names signify anything?
Yes, so if you look at the Ntombenhle doll, that's beautiful girl.
Right.
And already in the name, there's an affirmation there of the child being whole, the child being enough, the child being beautiful. We have Akiki. Akiki means ruby in Swahili.
Right.
So all of even Msimbi is also beautiful. Lali is probably the one that's a little bit more all-encompassing. Doesn't have it's catchy,
right? Which
is what kids like. They want something that's just I can relate to Lali. You know, she sounds cute. She sounds like a friend that I would want to be, that I want to have in my corner. So I think as much as the dolls have names which signify something, with the Lali, the approach there was have something that's relatable, extremely relatable. You know, it's fun, it's funky, there's accessories, there's all sorts of things that it's fun for a child to play with. But guess what? At the back of all of that, there's an affirmation that's happening because a child is playing with this doll that looks like her.
Now, I just want to go back to the story that you gave about the kids that were exposed to two dolls. One was a black doll or a dark-skinned doll, and one was a white doll. And they were saying the black one is ugly. Now, for some kids who have been exposed to that kind of mentality, I mean, taking Barbie, for example, with long hair, you know, kids want to experiment with the hair and do all kinds of styling. Is there any challenge on the African dolls with Afro in terms of kids want to play with the hair and do all kind of styling? Have you seen some kind of challenge when it comes to that kind of kid trying to bond with the doll, playing with the hair, plaiting the hair and stuff like that?
No. I think, no, we haven't.
Yeah.
So initially when we had one offering, there was a bit of an issue because if you look at the Ntombenhle doll, it's really flat, almost like short hair. So you can't really do a lot with that. But the other stuff that's been added into the range, there's a lot that can be done. And in fact, what we find is parents, when we're at Kiddies Corner selling some products, parents would buy the doll, the Thando doll specifically, to sit with, for the child to play with the doll and almost mimic playing with the hair while their hair was being done as well.
Oh, right.
Excuse me. Just so that the child can be a little bit more comfortable while the hair was being done. So there is a lot that can still be done with the hair. Our girls, across the range, they're always playing with the doll's hair.
Now, you want to add something?
No.
Okay. So with the Ntombenhle doll, I mean, I've seen beautiful attire on a doll. Do you get one doll and you can buy different attires for them, or can you sort of take out the attire and wash it and put another one? How does it work?
Well, so with our dolls currently, you buy as is. Well, with Ntombenhle, you basically the clothes are sold separately. But with our other dolls, I mean the Akiki and your Lali, we do sell some clothing separately as well. And I think it in terms of an investment, then you buy a doll and you basically just invest on the clothing and so on, so that the doll lives for longer. But you can wash the stuff, you can clean the clothes, you can mix and match outfits as well. I think that's another nice thing about having different outfits. Then the children can sort of create their own fashion show. My daughters generally do that. They'll put all the dolls out there and dress them in different things and pretend they're walking down a ramp and having a different fashion show. So they're fun to play with, and I think there's also a lot more still to be done within that space of creating accessories and clothing for the dolls. But when we do as well the accessories and the clothing, we're always conscious of the African aspect of clothing as well, in terms of the styling. So and the modernity of styling the clothes, even though you're using African patterns and African material, always keep the style relevant, young, funky, and fresh for the children to also be able to identify with what's already in the market, what's mommy wearing, and what's auntie wearing, and that type of stuff.
I mean, South Africa is really a multiracial country. We have official languages. Other racial groups, are you targeting them as well, or is this exclusively to, the black population?
Well, we thought we have to start somewhere.
Right.
So our main focus, we're looking at 50 million people in South Africa. 80-something% of that being black people,
Right.
So in terms of a business case, we thought we'd start there. But in terms of a Lali doll, we also have straight hair Lali offering. So instead of the afro, you can get a straight hair offering. And our real target there, we're looking at Indian and colored children as well, because we also, we share the same sort of brown skin tone,
Right.
but our hair is different, But our whole thing, another thing I want to say, is about uniqueness and individuality.
Right.
We don't want to say that we are all the same. We don't subscribe to that message that we are all the same. No, you are Zulu, I'm Sutu. You are Xhosa, I'm Venda. It's fine. You are beautiful. You are lovely. And you are unique, and you are important. So we don't want to blanket everybody as well because then it's just doing the same damage. We are taking away the uniqueness of the person. What we want to do is teach our children to celebrate and understand diversity, and that's really our focus. So we do have some stuff for dolls in terms of for Indian, looking at Indian children or
Right.
colored children, that kind of, but we don't want to say that we want them to celebrate who they are as well. We want to, our whole vision is to say to children, you are unique, you are beautiful, you are you, and it's okay.
And we don't have white offerings. okay? Because there's 90% of the shelf is already filled with those.
Right,
so
right.
there isn't a gap in the market for that.
Right.
There's enough options. Yeah. And we are very unapologetic about that.
And then with the clothing, does it represent, or do we have different offerings from all the ethnic groups that we have? I mean, do you have the Xhosa, the Venda, Tsonga? Do you have those, or is it just a few?
So with the Ntombenhle doll actually is the one that's driving more of the different tribes within South Africa. But with the Lali range, and even Msimbi and I think Akiki, some of the fabric that's used, it borrows from a lot of the other African countries. So it's not even just South Africa. Ntombenhle is the one that's really largely focused on SA.
Right.
But the others, we're bringing in a lot of the of the gems from the other countries
right.
within Africa, because that's the other thing that we're trying to drive. In celebrating somebody from Kenya, somebody from Nigeria, Ghana, you're actually saying we're one people, and it's great. You know, we're celebrating the diversity. And that's exactly what we're trying to say. Diversity is great. It's good. It's actually, it's the way it needs to be. You know, one person can't be seen as better than the rest. So the reason why we've even got, we're going into the music side of things, which will be launching soon. We've got a song that talks about the African countries. So for kids to actually learn that you're not a little something there in South Africa and that's all there is. There is so much more, and there are so many amazing things that you can learn from the other kids from all around Africa. And you'll find that even in the curriculum in school, the children will learn about everything else but Africa. You learn about South Africa and maybe the neighboring countries, and then you move on to America and all of those other places. But why?
Right. When
there is such a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of learnings that one can actually get from the African continent itself. So the puzzle that we've got is actually an Africa puzzle. And what it's supposed to do for kids and even parents is to actually show how diverse and huge this continent is. And we find that the parents that buy this are like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know where Ghana was on the African continent.
Right.
You know, and it also shows the level of ignorance that we've got, maybe even especially South Africans,
right.
About what happens on the continent. Yeah, so whether it be our books, whether it be the clothing for our dolls, it really seeks to drive that message of Africa is great, Africa is beautiful, and needs to be celebrated.
Now, a very important point that you raised with, that you guys are also sort of embracing the whole continent. Mm. You have an online store, so obviously everybody can just buy from anywhere. Have you seen some interest or sales from other African countries buying your products?
Absolutely. And we're actually engaging one or two people for distribution outside SA because there is that level of interest. So we want to be first and foremost big within the African continent. I mean, there's the Queens of Africa in Nigeria, there's the Lali dolls here, the Ntombenhle, but we want to be able to have all of these, the Msimbis in Zambia, we want all of these to be living in every single country within the African continent. You know, so yes, to answer your question, there have been sales, there have been orders from, in fact, the whole Africans in the diaspora. We've got a lot of interest from all over the world, from Africans who are seeking to drive that same agenda within their children.
Now, as we begin to wrap up the conversation, some of the general, I mean, you guys are entrepreneurs, obviously, some of the general challenges that you guys have faced, not particularly from, I think we spoke from an ideological perspective. Yes. Now, just from a general business perspective, some of the challenges that you guys have encountered that you can probably advise other entrepreneurs out there.
Sure.
Well, one thing I've learned is that, there's lots of opportunity. And we need to take advantage of it and trust yourself. I think one thing I've learned about business is you are possibly right. One thing we had a lot of was, as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of self-doubt. is this the way to do it? Is this not the way to do it? But you find that you actually possess quite a lot of solutions within yourself. You just maybe might need to bounce it off a few people here and there, but you know what you need to learn. But another thing is, when we started, we listened to a lot of people telling us what couldn't be done, and our mistake was to believe them. Because every time we tested for ourselves the hypotheses, we found that actually we could do this thing. And we've been able to open the market for ourselves and for others in ways we thought would, we couldn't imagine. We thought this probably would never happen, So we've been able to partner with retail partners, as Mpumi has said, with Hemleys and Toys R Us. And their reception has been welcoming, to say the least. But I think one thing is about persistence, and tenacity. That's the most important thing to have in business, because everybody else is worried about their own business, not yours.
Right.
And sometimes people are not as receptive, not because there's anything wrong with you, but because they've got their own things going on. So you need to be on your own business, focus on your own agenda, and know what you want in a particular situation, and know that it sometimes it takes time, and you need to stick with it. You need to persist. You need to continuously seek those whether it be interviews or those meetings or those opportunities that you're seeking. You need to chase after them, with everything you have. And you'll find by the time you get into the meeting, everything is sorted. It's like, oh yeah, we've been looking for something like this for so long, but it took you so long to get into the room, you could have been easily discouraged,
Right.
And another thing for us, is networking. We do a lot of networking, whether it be global grind, startup grind, where we met,
Right, yes,
and meeting a lot of other entrepreneurs, and you find that your problems are not your problems alone. So they're not unique to you, and if they're not unique to you, then it's okay. You can get over it. Because sometimes you think, what, everybody else has it easy but me. Why is it seem like everything is working for everybody else but me? But you engage with other entrepreneurs and you find what other challenges they've had and how they overcome them, then you know that, okay, so these things do happen. It's sort of like counseling for entrepreneurs. That's what networking does, and it also opens up a whole new world of opportunity for you as well. So that's something I'd say to entrepreneurs.
Now, you want to say something, Mpumi?
No.
We've spoken a lot about dolls, guys. Dolls. Is there anything for boys?
Yeah, we're working on it, right? We've got puzzles. We mentioned puzzles. We've got some books. We've got some music. But yeah, we've had a lot of that question for something for boys, And the what we are addressing right now is to create something for boys. But boys, unlike girls, don't just play with dolls to play with dolls.
Right.
There needs to be either some narrative behind it, maybe whether it be a superhero or a soccer star, or even if it's not a popular person, something that you create around that. Mm-hmm. So we've had a lot of requests for that. So it's something we're thinking about working on. But as entrepreneurs, we're always open. So not all the products on our store are ours, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to create something and you're an entrepreneur working within that space or thinking of entering that space, we can engage, see what you're doing and see how we can provide that offering to the market as well. So we don't feel that we need to have necessarily all the solutions, but because of collaborative work with other entrepreneurs and other people working within that space, we could probably bring a solution to the market.
When I was growing up, not really try to reveal my age.
Yeah.
We used to have those cars we make with wires.
Oh yes, we got those actually. Yeah. We do have wire cars, yes.
Which are made of steel. So these ones are super durable.
Right.
Yeah. They and they sell very well. Every time we've got those in stock, I actually sell them to fathers, and fathers is like, yo,
reminds them,
and they impose it on their son, like, hey Joe, you want this, So those sell very well, and I think it's those happy moments that we need to recreate for our children, because now we're living in a digital world, it's TV games and it's all sorts of digital media that they're consuming, that you they're not out there running around playing. Especially, I mean, maybe they'll do that at school because there's nothing else to do, during break time. But when at home, what will their memories be? What will they look and say? Yo, when I was a kid, will it be TV games? Or so we need to create that. We need to help create that environment for our children. Because we're doing them an injustice. So you're giving them all these gadgets and you're thinking you are doing a great job, but you're doing them injustice because you're not giving them that childhood, that authentic childhood that you had of playing outside. And you don't even have to buy our toys, but let them go climb a tree or play with a ball or something.
What's on the horizon for Toys with Roots? What's coming?
Watch the space. No, it's big things are coming. So what I'm very excited about is the project. We're launching a nursery rhymes CD. Really amazing stuff, and it would be great if we could send you a couple of tracks.
Right. Yeah. I'll be. That would be good.
Awesomeness. So, and some of them are nursery rhymes that we all know, that we grew up on. And some of them are new creations that we've come up with as Toys with Roots, and we'll have a DVD launching soon also, which will basically be like a musical DVD. And the boy toy is coming soon. Boy toy is coming soon. There's a lot of plans, and as you can imagine, as an small entrepreneur, the challenge is always the finance to actually upscale to the next level. So the thoughts are there, the ideas are there. It's just to have the capital to be able to translate it into something. And we are looking to have a bricks and mortar store as well, where our customers can actually engage and touch and feel the products. That's our next step as well.
Okay. One last question. You guys are married, right?
Yes.
How's the dynamics of running a company when you are a couple at the same time?
It's not easy, but I think we need to be clear on the objectives that we need to achieve and be accountable to each other to ensure that we actually do achieve what we need to achieve. And one person kind of needs to lead, and drive it, because ours is in such a way that I think I'm a very controlling person, which kind of does help us and benefits, because I'm like, let's do.
Right.
And Thabo's a little bit more methodical and he thinks things through, etc. But it's leveraging on each other's strengths, I think, which is key. So that's how we've made it work, and I think that's how we're going to be able to be this multi-billion-dollar toy company that we aim to be. So we are envisioning ourselves to be playing alongside the likes of Mattel on a huge scale.
Right.
So, and it's only possible because we're able to leverage each other's strengths.
Now, people out there would be interested in your products. Some people would, like you said, be interested into partnering with you guys. Maybe they have some ideas or some product they would want to put on your catalog, on your category. How do people get in touch with you?
So we are available. Our store is toyswithroots.co.za. On social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we are Toys with Roots. You can also email us at info@toyswithroots. That's TOYSWITHROOTS.co.za. And that's all the communication. You'll be able to get hold of us on any of those platforms.
Yeah, Thabo and Mpumi, thank you so much for coming into Strategy Corner. We really, I think it's a great idea. It's a great philosophy to push. So all the best from Strategy Corner.
We really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Thabo and Mpumi, the founders of Toys with Roots, who shared with us the Toys and Roots products offerings, from toys to books and even music. If you have any suggestions about the show or want to recommend any future topics and guests, please email me at lekomeza@strategycorner.co.za.
Thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and found the material to be of great value to you. If you'd like to get more information about Strategy Corner and the services we offer, please email info@strategycorner.co.za, lekometa@strategycorner.co.za. You can also follow us using the handle @Strategy Corner on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to get the latest on Strategy Corner. Till next time, goodbye.